Nepal stands at a historic crossroads caught between crisis and transformation. With youth-led protests shaking the very foundations of its political order, negotiations are underway. But no names have been finalized to lead the interim government in Nepal just yet. From curfews in major cities to fresh political statements, the situation remains tense yet alive with calls for change. The next report tells you more about a nation in flux.
The streets of Nepal remain under curfew, but the rage of Generation Z is anything but contained. The youth-led movement demanding sweeping reforms has gripped the nation. Former student leaders urged forming a new government within parliament to address Gen Z demands and safeguard the republic through dialogue, reforms and law enforcement. Their key demands include a system of directly elected executives, fresh representation in parliament from the Gen Z generation, and full investigation into assets of every public official since 1989. The young demonstrators leading the movement in the Himalayan kingdom has also demanded judicial probes into corruption, preventing members of parliament from becoming ministers. The agenda is loud and clear: a complete revamp of political accountability, redefining transparency. President Ramachandra Paudel has called for patience and calm, assuring that all steps will remain within constitutional limits. Civil society groups have urged young protesters to work under the president's guardianship, embracing democratic values to steer the country away from corruption and irregularities. In a surprising show of solidarity, former Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal released a 10-point statement backing the youth movement, but urging restraint. His words echo the long-standing demand of his Communist Party for systemic reform. Brihat Nagrik Andolan, a civil society group, says the Gen Z revolution must succeed under the president's constitutional guardianship. The Democratic Thought Society has urged all civil groups to unite, pushing for peaceful dialogue as the only way forward. The CPN UML2, from its central secretariat, insists on a political solution, but strictly through democratic measures. Amid unrest, a parallel story unfolds. Youth protesters have now taken to street cleaning campaigns, and in the fire-ravaged government offices, employees and volunteers are salvaging documents, rebuilding from what's left post-destruction. On the ground, curfews have been imposed in Kathmandu Valley until Friday morning. Tribhuvan International Airport has reopened under tight security, with tourists escorted by forces to ensure safe departures. But violence still simmers in several parts of Nepal. In Saptari, 192 inmates were prevented from escaping. In Ramchhap, 2 lives lost in clashes. And in hospitals across the country, the toll of this uprising grows heavier. 34 dead, more than 11,000 injured. A movement born in the hearts of Nepal's young now tests the resilience of its democracy. As leaders call for dialogue and protesters push for reform, the world closely watches as Nepal's Gen Z revolution unfolds. With inputs from Shweta Singh, Bureau Report, DD India.